Sup, guys? It's Toad back with you early for the Friday edition of Better Off Dead, April 25th. We've gone on a week-long win streak here on the show, which obviously is necessary after that horrific March. I apologize. I apologize for the March, man. March is over, though, man. We're in playoff time now. It's my time to thrive. This is where I typically thrive, and it is happening. 7 winning days in a row on the show. NBA playoffs, I believe I'm 6-1 now, including the play-in game. NHL playoffs, finally lost a game last night, but I'm 5-1, I believe. And baseball's just kind of chugging. So hopefully baseball gets a little bit better. But I do have 3 baseball plays today, 2 NBA plays, and 1 NHL play, which I'll get to in a second. Yesterday's recap, yesterday didn't start off good with that Milwaukee-San Francisco baseball game. That under had no chance. Both starting pitchers did way worse than I thought. That was a disaster. So I'm like, I'm gonna lose my streak, but it didn't happen because I proceeded to go 3-1 with the rest of the plays as the Baltimore Orioles got there, winning 2-1. So very close. Cade Povich kept them in the game, which is exactly what I wanted them to do. Because if it came down to the bullpen situation, Baltimore at least has the upper hand there, even though I don't think the bullpens on either side gave up any runs in that game. But we got the win there. NBA, easy win on the LA Clippers to finish off the night. Not even close. That one was good. And then we had, what else did I even have? Oh, NHL, of course. St. Louis Blues, that was an easy win as well. Nice win for the Blues. And then the Vegas Knights, they basically did the same thing that they did in game 1, man. I do not understand. Nba Nhl Hill, they might have to just take him out. They got Samsonov. I don't know who else they have. Samsonov is an experienced goalie, though. But Hill, he is not getting it done, dude, because 2 games in a row now, the Wild had, very few shots. In this case, early on in the game, the Wild at least had few shots, and they were getting him in the net. They had 3 goals on their first, I don't know, whatever it was, 9, 10 shots probably, and the game was already out of reach. I don't understand. Thought it was a great bounce back spot for Vegas. Thought Vegas was going to show up defensively after a ridiculous defensive lapse in game 2. I thought Hill was going to do way better in that game. None of that happened. So I apologize for that. Now, let's move on to today. That's all we can do now. It was a winning day, a slight winning day yesterday, 3-2. Let's talk about today, man. We got NBA action. More zigzagging to be had here today, I think, with my Boston Celtics playing at the Magic in the first game up at 7 p.m. Eastern. So this series is 2-0 Celtics, and we shift to Orlando for this one. Of course, usually with the zigzag, the zig-zig-zag is also a thing. So if the road team loses the first 2 games, they are definitely worth a look in game 3 coming back home. And even the Memphis Grizzlies even covered last night, but they were winning that game, I think, by 10 points with 6 minutes left, and they still lost and almost didn't even cover, which is crazy, but they did cover in that game. So that was probably Memphis's last gasp. They'll probably get blown out in game 4, so I am considering laying the points with the Thunder in game 4 of that series. But usually, yeah, if a team's down 0-2, you usually get an all-out effort from them because we know no team in the NBA has ever come back from down 0-3. So once it's 0-3, it's pretty much over. 0-2, though, with the team coming back home, they usually do well. So, yes, I lean to the Magic here. I'm not going to play this one. Celtics down from 6 juiced to 4.5 juiced. 75% of tickets, 85% of the cash, though, coming in on the Celtics. So the cash percentages on them. Celtics are going to be without Jason Tatum still, which I think is part of the reason why the line has moved down a little bit. I think some of it might actually be a legitimate movement, although maybe not, because the cash percentage is on the Celtics. So they're deciding to continue to rest Jason Tatum. I believe everybody else will play. I know Porzingis in game 2 took that shot to the forehead and his temple was bleeding from Bidaze Goga, however you pronounce his last name, Bitchasse, whatever his name is. Kind of a cheap shot, elbowing Porzingis in the head, and that's a guy who almost never plays. Comes off the bench and just elbows Porzingis in the head. Come on, man. Porzingis, tough guy, though. He toughed it out. I assume he's going to play today. It's not a serious injury, I don't think. It's a hit to the head. And then we got, Tatum will rest. I think the Celtics probably feel like they're probably not going to need him, but the Magic could get this game down 0-2 not being a huge underdog at home, but maybe the line's over adjusted a little bit. I don't know. And I don't know. I mean, the Magic did win 2 games against the Celtics this season, so it's not out of the realm of possibility at all. The Magic do play the Celtics fairly tough. It's another low total here, expected to be another low-scoring game. Both teams play slow pace. Of course, Celtics without Tatum, but they could certainly cover for his absence, typically. But still expected to be a defensive, slow battle, most likely. Hi, Anna. Good to see you again. You're the consistent morning viewer of mine now. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about this game here, I don't think. I guess I would probably lean to the under in that game as well, but I don't love the under. It's a little bit strange because this series we saw 2 games off between game 1 and 2, both games in Boston, and now they're traveling to Orlando with only 1 day off. Kind of strange. They had extra rest while staying in Boston, but now they have less rest while traveling. Schedule makers doing some weird things here. Now, next 2 games, I'm going to play the zigzag in both of these, man. And I know we're not playing with a whole lot of value here on the Milwaukee Bucks -5, but I just love the spot for the Bucks here, and I'm going to lay the extra price for it, and we're going to go balls to the wall here, man. I know some bettors won't want to do it. Sometimes, I mean, I was considering not doing it because we're not getting line value here. I mean, the Bucks were like whatever they were, like a 5, somewhere around a 5-point underdog. So you're talking about a big shift here where really the Bucks should probably only be about a 3-point favorite in this game. I would say you get a little bit extra home court for playoffs, but the line's already up from 3 through the 5 to 5.5. Now I did find a 5 out there. 5.5, not a huge difference, really. Kind of a little bit of no man's land in basketball. It's not football, though, so every point does matter a little bit more in basketball. But I'm going to lay the points with the Bucks, man. I mean, they're down 0-2. They didn't look good in the games against Indiana. I mean, they got blown out in game 1, so the thought was they'll zigzag and play better in game 2, and they did, but they still didn't cover. The game went way over the total, which I thought would happen. I think the first game actually went under, and this game went over, and now the total's even higher than it was in the first, or at least than it was in the second game. So they've had to adjust the total up. I don't even disagree with the over in this game, though. I would not dare to play an under here, especially with not that much time off plus travel, even though it's not a huge amount of travel from Indiana to Milwaukee, but still, these teams both play fast, but I like the side here a lot better, man. I mean, the Bucks, they cannot go down 3-0, obviously, or 0-3. The series is going to be over if that happens. So I know that means you're playing on a team where the pressure is on, but Milwaukee is a good team. That's why they're here in the playoffs. So I consider them to be a quality team. And with the Bucks, one of the main reasons why I didn't go on their zigzag in game 2, which I would have otherwise, and they almost covered but didn't, was that Damian Lillard was returning after about a month off. So when you have a star player like him come back into the lineup, there's like an adjustment period there. Like he's got to get used to playing again in an actual game. The team has to get used to playing with them again, chemistry-wise. I mean, he's their point guard, so everything kind of runs through them. But now he has a game under his belt, so I think this is a much better spot now, as that was the reverse injured player spot. Now we're looking at Lillard being back here, and I think that's going to help Milwaukee a lot. His second game back, I think, is going to be way different. I think that's also why the line is a little bit bigger here. Of course, Indiana in game 1 was about a 6-point favorite, and then in game 2, it was actually closer to like 4.5 because of the Lillard return. So Lillard is being factored into this line as well, even though the line is, again, a little bit high. But I think this is a zigzag type of series. We saw these two teams play a very zigzaggy series last year in that 3-6 matchup there, where teams are just the team that had the upper hand was like not showing up for the next game, and the other team was kind of blowing them out. We saw like zigzagging blowouts, I'm pretty sure, in the series in that series last year between these two teams. So we're gonna go with the Milwaukee Bucks in that game. I like it for all of those reasons. And then I am gonna also play in the LA Minnesota game. I'm gonna lay the points with the Minnesota T-Wolves, man. And this is the furthest travel the teams have to do. So this is probably the worst spot for a road team for the Lakers here, as they have to go to Minnesota, which is a bit more travel, a little bit more of an unfamiliar environment for them. I like Minnesota on this one. The line's up from 2 to 3, going through the 3 now. And we see 64% of tickets on the Lakers. The Lakers, very public team. People like what they saw last, so they like that they saw the Lakers bounce back in game 2. And the public perception is going to be the Lakers are going to do really well moving forward, but I don't think that's the way it works, man. And we got 50% of the cash coming in on the T-Wolves, and that is the case for a reason. Professional bettors know this T-Wolves team is actually pretty good, man, and they are still the better defensive team of the two, with the Lakers downgrading their defense with that Luka trade there. T-Wolves have actually been really good down the stretch. They've actually been better than the Lakers over the last month or so. I'm not saying they're the better team. I don't think they are, because the Lakers were resting some guys, especially once they had the 3 seed wrapped up, but doing some load management there, especially because LeBron is old. But in this case, I mean, we're going with the team with the better defense, the younger team. T-Wolves, they do have experience. So, I mean, both teams have a lot of experience, but the T-Wolves, I mean, they were here last year. They made it to the conference finals last year. So they do have a bit of pedigree here. I like the T-Wolves at home here, man. I like this to be a zigzag series. I've had a gauge on the series in both games. I had the T-Wolves in game 1, outright winner, easy blowout win. And then I laid the points of the Lakers in game 2. Also had that one right. Another easy blowout winner. So I've had a gauge on the series, man, and hopefully it continues here. I think the T-Wolves are going to be the team that makes the adjustments. I mean, this is why the zigzag also works, right? It's not just because, the Bucks are going to be desperate or whatever in that Bucks-Pacers game. There's also an adjustment that teams make. When teams lose, the team that won doesn't really have anything to adjust because everything worked for you in your last game. Everything didn't work for that team that didn't do well. So that's the T-Wolves here. So they're going to be the team that has the adjustments to make. And they're at home here. And again, I told you this was going to be a pretty close series. This definitely could be a series that goes the distance, man. I think this is a heavyweight fight in this series here. I like Minnesota to win this game. I'm going to lay the 3 with Minnesota. I mean, if you wanted to play money line on either of these, I wouldn't stop you from doing that either. The money line, of course, is going to be a bit crazy on the Bucks, but that's the way that it is. Zigzagging blowouts, yeah. Yeah, that's right. You better aim properly there when you're having to take a shit after you eat Mexican food. All right, or Indian food for that matter. Anything that's spicy, really. All right, let's go over to NHL here. I think that was all I had to say about those games, right? Bucks, by the way, I don't even know if I mentioned it, but 66% of tickets, 83% of the cash. So the money, their cash percentages on both of those plays that I have. So we got agreement there. NHL, first game up, 7 p.m. Eastern again, is Washington, Montreal, as this is a 2-0 Washington lead in this series, and this is going to shift up to Montreal. Montreal, they've been playing pretty well down the stretch, man. I mean, I would not discount them. I'm not going to play this game. The line has moved down from minus 135 to minus 116. I do agree with that move. I agree with Montreal here. It's just the cash disparity doesn't agree with it. 61% of tickets are on Montreal, it looks like. I don't know if that's really accurate or not, that Montreal is going to be kind of a public side here. That doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, Washington has been a very public team because they've looked so good this season. And they got Ovechkin. Basically nobody can name anybody on Montreal. 59% of the cash coming in on Washington, though. Now, the one advantage that I do see, or actually maybe there are a couple of advantages here, is that Washington, well, of course, the main advantage is they have experience. Washington has more experience, as Montreal is really, they haven't been in the playoffs for a long time, man. But then again, kind of like what I said with the Detroit Pistons last night, although the Pistons didn't get there. They lost. They played tough, though, in a close game. But this is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs for a long time. But for Montreal, this is even bigger because Montreal, they have all that pedigree, that history behind them, an original 6 team. Their fan base is one of the most crazy fan bases in the NHL, man. I mean, this is a hockey town. This is like a hockey team, even though I hate them because they're a rival of the Bruins. But this is going to be their first home playoff game, and who knows how long. So this is going to be an absolutely insane environment. So I do think there are definitely reasons to lean to Montreal here. But Washington does have a little bit of the experience edge because Montreal hasn't been here for so long. And Montreal, I could see them maybe being in a bit of a hangover spot because they actually played well in both of these games. I think Washington won on an empty net in game 2, and I think game 1, or they won 2-1 or won 3-1, but they were up 2-1 until like the very end. So Montreal was in that game until the very end, and they lost the first game in overtime. So it's possible that Montreal is just kind of in a hangover spot and is a little bit tired after playing two road games, really, really tough. They might run out of steam here, but then again, you could also argue this is a closer series than people think, and Montreal has played very competitively in both games, and that's why I took the Blues last night, although I'm a little bit more worried about Montreal with their lack of experience there. So I'm not going to play the game. I can see arguments for both sides. Carolina's at New Jersey. This is a 2-0 series as well, but this, I'm just worried about it, man. I just think this is a mismatch with Carolina being the way better team, even though New Jersey, they've come out and they've been the physical team, but it hasn't even mattered. I mean, they've lost both games pretty badly, even though they had like the physicality edge, surprisingly, because Carolina, you kind of see them as being more of that team because they're a more defensive team. But New Jersey's been the team with that's been the more physical team, but I just don't know if New Jersey has that much left, man. I wouldn't want to lay this big price with Carolina on the road, but they are definitely the better team. They have been the better team in the series. Both games are easy wins for Carolina. They're down from minus 165 to minus 164. 59% of tickets, 62% of the cash coming into Carolina. I mean, if New Jersey is going to show up and play a game and maybe even get the win, it might be this game because they are down 0-2. They are a big home underdog here, and maybe the line is a little bit jacked up on Carolina, but Carolina does not tend to be a very public hockey team, man. That's just the way that it is because they don't have a really like impressive offense, so the public does not love them. So that's what we got going on there. And speaking of the public not loving a team, or the public loving a team, I'm actually going to play on the team that the public loves in Edmonton. This is my one play, man. And there are reasons for this. I think Edmonton is going to get the job done. They're down 2-0 and returning home. But you're talking about an Edmonton team that has more experience than either New Jersey or Montreal does. They're better than both of those teams. I think they're going to make adjustments to get this done, man. They lost 2 games at LA, but LA is a great home team. They have one of the best home records in hockey. But look at their road record. They're below 500 on the road, and the Oilers have a much better home record. So I think this is a big-time home-road disparity series, and these teams play far away from each other, too. So I think the travel, the distance, the location, I think it definitely favors the home team, especially when there's a short turnaround time. They have to travel. I had the Kings in Game 1 in this series, stayed off of Game 2, didn't know how Game 2 was going to go. I think the Oilers are going to get this game in Game 3, man. And again, they do have the experience edge. LA is going to have the goaltending edge throughout the series. They're the better defensive and goaltending team. Edmonton is the better offensive team, and Edmonton wants to play at a faster pace. And at home, they may be able to do that and get the job done. Their first game was actually a high-scoring game, by the way, even though LA still wound up winning the game. Edmonton came back and almost won that game. So Edmonton, actually, they're coming off a more embarrassing result in Game 2, really, when all is said and done. They looked bad. I mean, they've given up 12 goals in the first 2 games. They might even switch their goalie here, man. And I know when you switch your goalie, that's not a good sign usually, but Skinner has not been getting the job done, and they do have Picard. He is not much of a downgrade. So if Edmonton decides to switch goalies here, I don't even think it's a bad thing. But I'm going to take Edmonton here. I mean, this is desperation times. This is the team that made the finals last year. I mean, they got pedigree. They do have some of the best offensive players in the league. Obviously, Connor McDavid, although I'm not really a fan. Edmonton up from minus 135 to minus 137. Yeah, they're public. 80% of the tickets. Public still on them, even though they lost the first 2 games in the series. But I don't think that if the public is on their side, I don't think they have this game wrong. 92% of the cash coming in on Edmonton. I think this is the best of the hockey zigzag spots here. This is the best of those 3 teams, and that's what you want, man. You want a quality team down 0-2 at home, and they're actually the favorite. Teams down 0-2 that are favored at home, which is what I'm playing in all 3 of these zigzag spots in the NBA and NHL. We're going to go with Edmonton. That's the one hockey play here. Let's go over to Major League Baseball, and then I'll get out of here. I'm finishing with a bang with baseball, man. I don't know. I might try to just run through all these games real quick. I mean, Philadelphia and Chicago Cubs, neither team played yesterday, I don't believe. So both teams are rested. I believe Chicago's coming off a big series, though, against the Dodgers. Yeah, they're staying at home, but they just had a 2-game series sweep over the Dodgers. They've been playing some tough opponents. So they're coming off a big series. Could be a letdown spot, but Chicago, it also means they're battle tested, man. Philadelphia's coming off getting swept by the Mets, so they might be in a little bit of an angry mood, though. So, afternoon game here. Situationally, I think Philadelphia may be worth a look. However, the problem is Taijuan Walker is pitching for them, and he is just awful. He's been awful. He has awful numbers against Chicago. Colin Ray actually has good numbers against Philly, and he's actually been good this year, surprisingly, because I never thought he was really that good of a pitcher, but maybe he's proven me wrong. He's been pretty good this year. He's good against Philly. I mean, if you want me to look at the numbers real quick, Taijuan Walker, I mean, he looks like he has good numbers this year, but I really don't think he's good. I mean, he's in his 30s now. He's never really panned out. 2.29 ERA, 1.17 whip this year, but against the Chicago Cubs, I don't believe his numbers are very good. Yeah, 301 batting average allowed, an 804 OPS, and 93 at-bats. That's not good. Colin Ray pitching, I don't know if I necessarily should trust him. I don't know if we should trust him. I mean, he doesn't go deep into games, man. That's the one issue. Like, he is pitching well, but they know how to use him. They use him as an opener, and then they turn it over to the bullpen. And with a rested bullpen, that might still be an okay way to go for the Cubs here. They'll let him go 3-4 innings, take him out. But he's been effective in that role, man. It's kind of an opener, and the Cubs have been able to turn it over to their pretty good bullpen and kind of let it ride from there. And Ray, like I said, he has good numbers against the Phillies as well. 67 at-bats in their career against them, 194 average, 576 OPS, so really low numbers there. So I think Chicago has the upper hand in the starting pitching matchup, but I don't like the spot with Philadelphia maybe being extra motivated. And Chicago is up from -120 to -133, though. So some of the money is coming in on the Cubs side, despite coming off that big series against the Dodgers. 78% of the tickets, 80% of the cash coming in on them. We got Baltimore, Detroit. Brandon Young is young, and I believe he's only making his second career start ever. So Detroit's hitters won't be familiar with him. They've never seen him before, but his first start was a bit rocky against Cincinnati, giving up 3 walks and 7 hits in 4 innings. That's not good. So he's going to have to get better than that. I mean, you could argue he is better than that. He was just shaky in that first game. But also, Baltimore played yesterday. They used some of their best relievers to finish off that game. Thank you. Thank you, Baltimore, for getting me that win, because I had Baltimore yesterday. But they did use a lot of their relief staff, whereas Detroit didn't even play yesterday. So I believe Detroit does have some edges in this game, scheduling-wise, but the fact they have not faced Brandon Young could be a bit of an issue. But then again, he didn't pitch well in his first game, so there are definitely some conflicting factors here. I don't quite want to get involved. And then Casey Mize pitching for the Tigers. I've never really thought he was that good, but he is pitching well this season. He's starting to get his control under control or in check here with a couple of good starts, coming off a really good start. He's been really efficient with his pitches, too. Well, that was against a weak Kansas City lineup, but he has been pitching well. And against Baltimore, I believe he has good numbers as well. Yeah, 24 at-bats. He's on a 208 average, although a slightly high 755 OPS because he has a lot of home run and 3 walks. But Detroit is probably the lean in this game. I think they have the better situation as they're rested. Baltimore's bullpen is unrested. Young is very, very unproven, so I would lean to Detroit. They're up from -120 to -130. They're going to be public. I don't know how public exactly. Don't really see the percentages yet. Washington, of course, also played yesterday in that loss against the Orioles. So they're playing right away again. The Mets, though, are coming off a big series sweep of Philadelphia. That was a huge sweep, so they could be in a letdown spot as well. 2 good pitchers, so I don't know what to do with this game. Kodai Senga, the guy they brought over from Japan, he's actually pitching quite effectively. And he was pretty good last year, too. 0.79 ERA this year, though. 0.97 whip, although he hasn't gone deep into many of these games, except a game at that crazy Sacramento stadium against the A's. For some reason, that was his best start, which is kind of insane. But he has only faced, that was a tough draw for him just because of the stadium. But besides that, he faced Miami twice, not impressive. And St. Louis, decent offense there. But I do think he's a decent pitcher. And he does have decent numbers against Washington. Washington, I mean, I don't know that their offense is very good. But 18 at-bats, 222 average. However, he has walked 7 guys and a lot of home run. 3 to 7 strikeout walk ratio is not good. So he has walked too many of these Nats hitters here. 829 OPS, a little bit high for my liking. And then Jake Irvin on the other side for Washington. He's pitching well this year too. 3.68 ERA, 1.06 WHIP. Not bad numbers at all. 27 to 7 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good. Fewer than 1 hit per inning allowed. All of that's good. Against the Mets, I mean, these teams are both familiar with these opposing pitchers now, but he's got good numbers against the Mets and 60 at-bats, 200 average, 595 OPS. So he actually has the somewhat better matchup stats here, although I don't think he's actually better than Senga, but he does have the better matchup stats, so tough to gauge this game. I mean, I might lean under in this game because both starting pitchers might be able to get the job done. Total has actually moved up very slightly. It looks like some of the money actually coming in on the over. Wouldn't really agree with that, but I don't really want to get involved with that either, with the Nats having played yesterday and having a really terrible bullpen as well. Under first 5 inning could be worth a look in this game because it's mostly based on the starting pitching matchup. Toronto at New York Yankees. Both teams were off yesterday. This is a pitching matchup that, oh boy. I mean, the only way that I would look in this game is probably to the over. I mean, the total is at 9.5 for a reason. Yankee Stadium there is a pretty hitter-conducive ballpark. Barrios for Toronto, he is not pitching well this season. 5.02 ERA, 1.43 WHIP. Against the Yankees, his numbers are pretty bad as well. 99 at-bats. They're very familiar with him. 323 average of 1,048 OPS. So he has had much difficulty against the Yankees. Aaron Judge especially has wrecked him. Cabrera as well, good numbers. I mean, some of these guys have good numbers off him. Grisham, a couple of home runs. Volpe, not bad numbers either, however you pronounce his name. So I would be worried about him. And then Carlos Carrasco for the Yankees. I mean, he's only in the rotation because they have injuries. I mean, this guy, he's nearing the end of his career. He has not been effective so far this year, even though the one time I think I actually tried to play against him, he actually beat me in this Kansas City game, which is ridiculous. Kansas City cannot hit. But Carrasco, I don't trust him at all, but his numbers are good against Toronto. 46 at-bats. He's held him to a 217 average, 582 OPS. But do you really want to play on a guy that has a 6.53 ERA and 1.45 WHIP? I don't. So I think the over is probably the best look here. It's obviously, it would not be a shocker if Carrasco does not have a good game here. The money, I think, is moving towards Toronto in this one. Yankees down from minus 143 to minus 123. Some significant market indicators on Toronto. 75% of the tickets on Yankees, 55% of the cash on Toronto, though. Strong market indicators, but again, I think the over is the best look here. That total's gone up from 9 to 9.5, basically with juice on the over a little bit. And it looks like the cash percentage is kind of on that total there as well. Next game up is a game I actually have a play on. I got two sides here. And this one, I'm going to go Minnesota Twins money line on DraftKings -1. You have to pay minus 143 for this one, but they're a big favorite, so I'm trying to knock the price down a little bit here. I think this is a big-time pitching mismatch here, and it's a situational mismatch, so I like the spot from Minnesota. I don't want to lay like a minus 200 money line, but the fact that Minnesota's somewhere in the vicinity of minus 200, even though they're 9-16 up against a 500 team, that's going to mislead some people. Like, why would you want to lay a huge favorite price with a Twins team with such a horrific record against an Angels team with an okay-looking record? Well, the odds makers are telling you pitching matchup advantage for the Twins. I obviously agree that that's the case. I don't think the Twins are even the worst team against the Angels, man. I think the Angels just started hot. I think they're not as good as their hot start. I think the Twins are better than their record would indicate. Twins are at 500 at home, and the Angels are below 500 on the road, at least. But I think this is just the spot sets up nicely. Don't want to lay that much of a price. You could lay the minus 1.5 run line with Minnesota. I know I did that a few days ago, and they barely got there, winning by 2. It's a little bit difficult to do with a home team where you know if they're winning, they're not going to get that last at bat in the 9th inning. So it's a little bit difficult to lay that minus 1.5 run line. And Minnesota's offense isn't very good. So I know it's a little bit difficult to do that, but I wouldn't really tell you not to. I just think this is a preferable way to do it at still a decent price that you're laying at minus 143 to lay the minus 1 run line, which does mean that if they win by exactly 1, you will push the bet and just hopefully they don't lose, because if they lose, obviously it was a better way to go to lay the run line. If you want to lay the run line, you can lay the -1.5, probably at about +110. But in the handicap here, Angels played yesterday, so right off the bat, that's not good. They're unrested because they played yesterday. And they played actually at home on the Pacific Coast. They didn't use that much of their bullpen. They did use their closer, Jansen, and now they're having to travel from Anaheim and no turnaround time and play in Minnesota. So it's a difficult travel spot. No rest. Minnesota, I believe, did not play yesterday, right? Oh, no, they did, excuse me, but they played a shortened game, sorry, and they're not traveling, sorry. So Minnesota played one of the earlier games yesterday, so the Angels actually played later in the day as well, so they have less of a turnaround time as well because they played later in the day. This is a bad spot for Anaheim, man. And Minnesota really didn't have to use much of their bullpen. I think they used one relief pitcher in this game because the game was shortened, probably due to rain or something, to 7 innings. So Minnesota's the more rested team. They're not having to travel. They played a little bit earlier in the day, and they lost pretty embarrassingly to the Chicago White Sox, where I liked the White Sox yesterday. I told you, man. Shane Smith, pretty good pitcher for the White Sox, under the radar right now because people don't know who he is. They don't pay attention to the White Sox. Paddock hasn't been doing that well for Minnesota, so I liked Chicago yesterday. Kind of wish I played it. They're a huge dog in that game. But Minnesota already had the first 2 games of that series, so they'd already won the series. But now coming off kind of an embarrassing loss, I think this sets up nicely for them. I mean, Anaheim's coming off that series where they had some tough battles against Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh does suck. I think this sets up way better for Minnesota. And then you're looking at the starting pitching matchup. I mean, come on, man. Kyle Hendricks, I know he looks okay this season, but he is not. 4.5 ERA, still not that great. 1.2 whip. It's kind of whatever, but he's got a 10-7 strikeout walk ratio. I'm not impressed by that. I mean, he's not dominating hitters. He's not fooling hitters. In his last 3 starts, he's gone 5 or fewer innings in each. Over his last 2 starts, he's allowed 5 and 3 earned runs, which is worse than how he started out, and he's just not good in general, man. I mean, I've been making fun of him for a while. When he was on the Cubs, he looked like he was kind of nearing the end of his career, and I think he is a guy that we could fade here. Against the Minnesota Twins, even though their offense isn't that good, he does not have a good history against them either. Bader especially does really well against him in a lot of at-bats. 49 at-bats total, 327 average, and 802 OPS allowed. So Kyle Hendricks has not done well against Minnesota. On the other hand, Pablo Lopez is pitching for Minnesota, and he's one of their best starting pitchers. He was off to a good start this season, and then he got hurt. So he's coming back, and I like playing these veteran pitchers coming off the DL, man, because they're going to be ready to go. People might undervalue them, thinking that, oh, it's like wait and see. We don't know. Like maybe he's still hurt. No, if he's starting, they know he's ready to go. He's going to be excited to get back out there, man. These pitchers, they want to get back out there after that. So I like playing these guys coming off the DL, which is kind of contrary to what we do in other sports where we go on the reverse injured player theory. But I think when it's just the starting pitcher that we're looking at here, I think he's going to be pumped. He's going to be ready to be back. He is a good pitcher in general anyway. He's been one of their best pitchers. He's basically their ace, I would say. Had a couple of good starts to start this season before getting hurt. And up against the Anaheim hitters, he's done well in his career. 82 at-bats, 28-6 strikeout walk. Or actually, he actually hasn't done that well. What am I saying? What was I looking at earlier? What? I'm still going to play Minnesota here, though. I think he's the way better pitcher over Hendricks, so I'm still going to do it. I think the spot is good for him. But, yeah, I mean, he's actually allowed a 305 average to them and 950 OPS, but that's because basically the stats are all being skewed by Darno hitting 3 home runs off him. I mean, if it wasn't for that, these numbers would look a lot better. The strikeout walk ratio is really good. So I actually think he's a little bit better than what we think. So I'm going to go on Minnesota there. That's going to be the first play there. I apologize for not getting those stats quite right there. And then we got my Red Sox. I skipped over that one against Cleveland, probably because I don't want to talk about it. Tanner Houck has been awful for the Red Sox. His numbers against Cleveland, I think, are bad as well. So, I mean, what do you want to do here? The Red Sox played yesterday, embarrassing, losing at home to the Seattle Mariners. Actually, he's done well against Cleveland, oddly, holding him to 194 average, 534 OPS. So Houck has actually done well against Cleveland. Ben Lively, I don't think he's as good as his ERA would suggest. He's okay. I mean, 1.25 whip, not that great. Against the Red Sox, he's actually done well, though. 194 average, 606 OPS. So actually, both starting pitchers actually have good numbers against these opposing hitters. I really don't trust Houck, though, and the Red Sox played yesterday, and Cleveland did not. So I think it sets up a little bit better for Cleveland. The Red Sox sitting at like minus 110, minus 111, but 53% of tickets, 81% of the cash coming in on Cleveland. I agree with Cleveland there. Next up, I'm on Houston. Money line, minus 120 here. Houston at Kansas City. Oh, man, I got to get this done fast. I got to try to get this done. I think Wisniewski just has the advantage here, but Kansas City played a double header yesterday, man, while Houston was off. So Kansas City, definite rest disadvantage here. Wisniewski, I haven't really trusted him, but I mean, he's been good this season, man. So far, 25-4 strikeout walk ratio, fewer than one hit per inning, more than one strikeout per inning. I mean, there's nothing to really dislike about this. Kansas City's offense sucks as well, so they might not do well against Wisniewski here. I mean, they only have 8 at-bats worth against him, and most of their guys haven't seen him. 125 average, 375 OPS, very weak numbers, very limited sample size. But Seth Lugo, a guy who seems to be regressing a little bit this season. He's an okay pitcher, but his walk numbers are up so far this year. And against Houston, he actually doesn't do that well. 76 at bats, 13-8 strikeout walk ratio is not good. 316 average, 855 OPS. So he's actually been pretty bad against Houston. So I think this sets up nicely. I think Houston has a starting pitching edge, and they have a big rest edge with Kansas City having played 2 games yesterday while Houston didn't play any. So Houston is going to be the play in that one. And Houston is flipped from a plus 105 dog to a minus 126 favorite. So a lot of line movement there, even though they are public. 67% of tickets, only 59% of the cash. Worries me a little bit, but at minus 120, I think the price is right. We can get that one done. Milwaukee, St. Louis, you got Chad Patrick against Matthew Liberatore, who actually, metrics-wise, Liberatore is a very good pitcher, actually, in the analytical models there, and he's pretty young, so maybe he is turning into something really good. Chad Patrick also looks pretty good so far as a pretty unknown young pitcher from Milwaukee. I don't think St. Louis has ever faced him before either. So there's a starting pitching edge on both sides here, so I like the under in that game. St. Louis, I believe, didn't play yesterday. Milwaukee did. Milwaukee's bullpen is definitely at a disadvantage. Their bullpen is bad anyway, and it's unrested here, so slightly into St. Louis because they are the rested team. And under in the first 5 innings might be worth a look because both starting pitchers, pretty good, I think, have like a matchup edge there. And I think they're both kind of under the radar. Cincinnati at Colorado. Colorado, just like KC, they were the other team in that doubleheader yesterday. So Colorado played a doubleheader and they're returning home. Very bad spot for Colorado. I would lean to Cincinnati for that reason. Cincinnati, I believe, didn't even play yesterday. So Cincinnati has a big rest edge here as well. It's just, how will Cincinnati fare having to go to Coors Field? It's a little bit of a wild card. We don't know. I still like the Cincinnati side. You got to lay a bit of a price for them if you do like it. Andrew Abbott, I mean, I trust him more than Kyle Freeland, but Freeland is at least used to playing in Colorado, and Abbott isn't, although he does pitch in Cincinnati at least, which is a hitter-friendly park as well, so maybe he'll translate a little bit better at Coors Field than some other guys would. Let me see what's going on with this one. Yeah, I mean, it looks like the line has moved up a little bit on Cincinnati, up into the minus 130s. Atlanta and Arizona, I mean, Chris Sale has been struggling this year, man. But this is a pitching battle, it does look like, between Sale and Gallen. I mean, under first 5 inning might be the way to look in that one. Arizona's at a rest disadvantage also because they played yesterday and the Braves didn't. They played an extra inning game yesterday as well, so a rest advantage on the Braves side there. Sale, I mean, I think he will bounce back. I don't think he's really at the end of his career yet. And I think he might have the better matchup numbers in this game as well. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm trying to get this done fast. So that's what we got going on there. Seattle's returning home from a road trip, and they just won a series in Fenway Park for the first time in over a decade. I don't think they'd won there since like 2014, which is just insane. And they beat Garrett Crochet to do it, which is even more insane. Although Wu was on the mound for Seattle. He is good. So Seattle's in a bad spot. Could be in a bit of a letdown spot. And traveling cross country with no time off. Returning home cross country. Miami was resting yesterday, so actually a really bad spot for Seattle. The problem is Logan Gilbert is a good pitcher, good numbers against this bad Miami offense, and he's good at home, so I don't really want to fade him. Cal Quantrill has terrible numbers this year, but he does actually have really good numbers against Seattle, so I could see this game being an under game. I mean, that is probably what I would look towards, under or first 5 inning under in that one. Tampa and San Diego. I mean, Tampa played that extra inning game yesterday. Not traveling that far from Arizona to San Diego, but San Diego was off yesterday, so Tampa is in the worst rest spot here, and I think they probably have the worst of the starting pitching matchup with Boz starting to regress a little bit, and his numbers are bad against San Diego, I'm pretty sure. Michael King has good numbers against Tampa, even though they did see him a little bit when he was on the Yankees. So I would give the edge to San Diego with King in that game. That's the way I would look there. Chicago and the A's, this is my last play. I'm going over in this game, even though both offenses seem like they're weak. The A's actually can hit a little bit. And this is a hitting ballpark, man, in Sacramento, so I kind of like this. The A's did play yesterday. Chicago also played, although I know it was in a shortened game, but still, both teams did have to play yesterday, which might affect their bullpens a little bit. Both bullpens did have to get used at least a little bit yesterday. The A's more so than Chicago, but this starting pitching matchup looks really over-conducive with Sean Burke not getting it done for the White Sox. An ERA over 6, a 1.5 whip, real bad. And against the A's actually just saw him. So even though Burke is a young guy, usually a pitcher will have an advantage the first time he faces a lineup, but the A's just saw him, and he didn't even do well in that start. So the A's have an advantage against him because they just saw him, and they still hit him well. 28 at-bats, 321 average allowed, 1,156 OPS. Terrible numbers. And then Severino's been pitching well for the A's this season, but he has not been as good in this ballpark, which is a very hitter-friendly ballpark. Had a good start against the Mets here, but his two worst starts against San Diego and the Cubs. I know those are better offenses than the White Sox, but still, he's struggled a little bit in this park, man. He's been better on the road. So this looks over-conducive, and surprisingly, maybe the most surprising stat here, 61 at-bats worth against the White Sox. He's allowed 5 home runs, and those numbers are pretty spread out. 10-8 strikeout walk ratio is not good either. A 393 average allowed him, 1,201 OPS. Not a small sample size either. So Severino actually has not done well against the A's, or against the White Sox, lineup here. So we're going to go over 9 in this game. If you can get the 9, that's a key number because that's how you break the tie. So that's what I would look for there. I do believe the total is rising in this game. It's up from 8.5. Juice to the over to now 9. Juice to the over with some 9.5 showing up. I would pay probably up to about minus 120 to get this thing over 9 instead of 9.5. Again, 9 key number because that's how you break the tie. Could easily see a 5-4 final here, and in that case it would push, but we're going over in that game. And again, it's also a very over-conducive ballpark there in Sacramento. Speaking of a game not being an over, would be Pittsburgh and LA Dodgers with Skeens against Yamamoto. And not only is it Yamamoto, but Yamamoto I think has an edge here. LA, I know, coming off that big series against the Cubs, but they're resting. So they have rest. Pittsburgh played yesterday. I think the Dodgers do have an edge here, but you're laying a big price with the Dodgers if you want the Dodgers. Dodgers actually have hit Skeens okay when they've seen him in a very limited sample size. He usually dominates hitters, but the Dodgers lineup is really good, and they've done okay against him. Yamamoto actually has never been seen by Pittsburgh before, and they certainly have the way weaker offense. So I think LA has the edge all around here. They have the rest edge. I think they actually have the starting pitching edge here. And, of course, they have the offensive edge, and they have the bullpen edge. So LA, they're a big favorite for a reason, man, even though they are facing Paul Skeens. But I would look to an under in this game. Probably would go first 5 innings to take Pittsburgh's bullpen out of the equation for the under here. I think both starting pitchers could do a good job here. It looks like it should be a pitching duel, but I don't think you're getting any value playing an under with a Skeens game. You're probably having to pay to go under like 3.5. Very low total there, and the full game is only 6.5. So the odds makers know, man. They know this is a pitching duel, or at least probably is going to be a pitching duel. So with Skeens on the mound, you're pretty much never going to get that much value anymore with that. And then to finish it off, San Francisco and Texas both played yesterday. I like the Texas side here. Eovaldi has been the better pitcher over Verlander. Verlander's career might be over, man. And his numbers, I think, are just okay against Texas. And Eovaldi has been very, very good this season. I think he's got like something like a 24-2 strikeout walk ratio or something. So he's been really good, very good control so far this year, and his numbers are better against the Giants. And that's going to do it, man. Tower Gang Toad on Twitter. Let's get some wins today and follow the Tower Gang podcast, patreon.com/Tower Gang to give us some support. And that is it. Have a good one. Peace out, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Anna, especially. Peace.